Tres,
Yes.
dos, uno. What's up, bitches?
We are here.
We out here. But hey, welcome to Mind, Body, and Soul Food podcast.
Yes. We are here. Or for short, MBS Soul Food. This is episode 2.
But like, you know, it's kind of funny saying MBS Soul Food because we're technically saying Mind, Body, and Soul Food.
And I love that.
But like, yes, welcome to episode 2 of our podcast. This is kind of like a little bit of a continuation of like a little tangent that we almost went on in the first episode. But like, it was just too much, so it's just like, you know what, we just gonna do a part 2 because like it's that serious. And the main topic today is K-pop stans. We gonna get down to the nitty gritty, dirty ditty this evening, okay?
So who are we? Who are you?
I am a pimp named Slipback. I am Janay, also known as Janay Vera. Plug in my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry today. Like when you said a pimp named Slipback, my brain just went straight to Boondocks, and I was like, that one episode, and then I just started thinking, bruh. And then I started thinking about the episode where the granddad decided to bring in a stripper and try to turn her into a housewife. Ooh, I love Boondocks, I swear. They are like the greatest. Like, if you ain't never seen the Boondocks, they have animation inspired by anime. Man, but bro, when I tell you some of the topics in that be hilarious, like when Riley decides to start selling chocolates and then it turns not okay.
Or like, what was like that one episode? I think it was when Riley was hanging with that one fat kid, and it was based off like, you know, that one that was like, I want to do some hood rat shit.
Yes.
But like, another one of my favorite episodes is when like, I forgot the lawyer name though, but like when he was like, you know, scared to go to jail because like, you know, he was gonna get molested, and like that old dude was like, booty is more important than eating food and drinking water.
What was that dude's name though? I know that Tom was the guy that was scared. What was that guy's name? Like the one he was like, I'ma get your booty, Tom.
I like you and I want you. Now we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. The choice is yours.
Oh my god. And then Huey, my spirit animal. If I could ever be as smart as that child.
But like, yeah, what was like one of my favorite like Huey episodes when like he just like low key told the future, like The Simpsons, like the episode with the R. Kelly trial.
We are living that episode right now.
Exactly. Like that is one of the realest episodes ever, because that's literally what the hell is going on right now.
I mean, to this day, I will not lie, the fundraiser is still my favorite episode. Riley selling chocolates and beating out the world's finest chocolates, and then dudes come in from the mafia and they're like, you can't be doing that no more. Man, if that ain't the funniest thing, when he's just like sitting up there and he's like, F the plane, F the queen, F the plane you flew in on. Like that little rant he went on was the most hilarious thing. And then when Huey gave him his that bulletproof vest, and he was like, don't be spoiling nothing. Like, it's still the greatest episode. But we got off on a tangent. So yeah, that is Janay, or a pimp named Slickback, and I am Risha, who didn't introduce herself because I started talking about Boondocks. I can get easily distracted. But yeah, so we are here for MBS Soul Food. MBS Soul Food. All the souls, just add them all. Seoul as in Seoul, South Korea, and then Soul Food because we are 2 black sisters. So here we are. We're gonna start off by talking about some things we're excited about this week. What are some things that you're watching and or reading this week?
I mean, I ain't been reading nothing. I've been watching a lot of stuff. But I mean, like, but as far as like
promote literacy.
I know we should promote literacy, but like, man, unless I'm on Twitter, I ain't really reading.
You hear that, kids? Once you graduate college, you don't care about reading anymore.
Hey, look, man, I need a break.
No, it's okay. But what have you been watching?
Well, I mean, like, as far as like any dramas or animes, I don't know. I had like a random moment when I was just like rewatching like all of my favorite dramas, and so like, and like I do have like because like I watch like all my dramas on Viki, and like I do have a little list of like new shows I should be watching, including the ones you've been talking about, Hotel de Luna. I believe that's on there as well.
It's so good.
Mostly, I just been watching a whole bunch of like Park Seo-joon dramas. But low-key though, speaking of him, I saw something like earlier today, and there was like a recent picture of him that came up, and why are you shaking your head like that?
Because it was apparently that was not him. It was a strong look-alike person, but it was definitely not him. Yeah, because on his SNS a couple days later, he posted a picture and he looked exactly the same from one of his press conferences. So
I wasn't going to like, I'm not like one of those fans that be like, automatically diagnosing somebody. Well, like, because one thing I assume, because like, he is an actor, I just kind of like assume that he was probably preparing for a role. Possibly, because like sometimes like when it comes to like certain movies, actors, they like lose or like / gain weight to like fit a certain character, but
which is extremely unhealthy.
Like I guess like I'm glad that you cleared it up for me, but I mean like the way this doppelganger looked, I was just like, man, this must have been like a serious role. Like how drastic that looked to me, that like if Seo-joon really dropped that much weight. Have you ever, I forgot what name of this movie was called, but like it was like that movie with 50 Cent, like started in his acting days, and his character got cancer.
Yeah, I know what you're yeah, I remember seeing that. That was terrifying.
That was something, but I was just like, look, I understand the dedication, but I was like, I had so many thoughts in my head. I was like, if that's what's going on, what Seo-joon is doing, he dropping on his way for a role. I was like, look, I just hope the drama / movie don't flop like 50s did. I was like, don't be like 50. Don't be like 50. I was like, Seo-joon, don't be like 50.
But yeah, happily that is not the case. But yeah, so what shows have you been watching with Mr. Seo-joon?
Fight My Way. I probably watched like a lot, but except for Harang, I refuse to watch Harang more than once, because there was like a lot of emotional attachment to that drama, because one, that was the first K-drama that I've ever watched. And it was kind of one of those things, I'm not gonna lie, I showed up for V, but I stayed for everybody else. And like, it was just so much emotional attachment that I was having. And I never cried during like any movie or any show. And that freaking show made me go into tears in more than one episode. And I was like so mad. I was like, you know what? I'm not finna F with no K-dramas. I ain't finna be doing none of this. This stuff be like, making me cry. I can't do it. I'm like, why do y'all watch these K-dramas? And they see, I started watching another one. What was my second one? I think the second one that I've ever watched was Oh My Venus.
So good. So good.
And like in the part when he was in the hospital, she was like, Kuchinim. And I was like, no, Kuchinim. I was like, look, that show made me cry too. And like, what was the third show that I probably watched in a row that made me cry? It might have been Fight My Way. I believe it was Fight My Way. And there was like a moment that made me cry a little bit too. I was like, what is up with these K-dramas? But then I just fell deeper more into the hole. And so it's just like, I can't help but watching that.
Yeah, we simultaneously watched Sky Castle together.
Yes, oh my God, Sky Castle. Man, I was trying to get my friend Brianna to watch the show, but it's like the way I explained to her just made her not want to watch it. But I was like, yo, like that Sky Castle is like one of the most, like literally probably like the most hardcore drama that you will ever watch. That drama was on a whole other level, I swear.
It takes you places, man.
Oh my God, the level of secrecy and like deceit, and it's just, oh my God, like that show.
The thing is, it kind of reminds me, like, obviously, like the secrecy and all of that, trying to figure out how things. It reminds me kind of when I watched Kill Me, Heal Me. Like when I saw that for the first time, because it was also really interesting because it was using the concept of multiple personality disorder. But man, it was just like, it was that, like, Sky Castle was that captivating where I was just like, okay, what's happening next? Like, how did he get here? What is this? And it was like all the secrecy of who got there and where. And Sky Castle did things. Because Kill Me, Heal Me is one of my favorite dramas ever. And it's just like, Sky Castle was just, if it reminds me of my favorites, it's good. When I tell you, you will cry, you will cry. That show takes you on adventures. Another show that is really, really good that will make you extremely emotional. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of shows that are based in historical drama settings. So like Scarlet Heart Rio has IU in it, and IU is also in Hotel de Luna, which is also an amazing show currently airing. Please watch it. It's so good. But Scarlet Heart Rio is like, it's a remake of a Chinese drama that also like was along the same lines. And so like it's a remake of that, but goodness, when I tell you, you get so attached. Like, I was excited to watch this because there was Baekhyun, there was IU, and there was a whole bunch of other super popular people that I already, like, and actors I was already fans of in one drama. And then the soundtrack was absolutely amazing, and like, when I tell you, you'll get emotional, oh, you will get emotional. The thing is, it's like a girl from modern day ends up in Joseon Dynasty, and chaos ensues when she meets all of the princes. So many princes. There's so many of them. And they're all fighting to be on the throne. And man, that just, it goes places. And so yeah, I would recommend that to literally every person on the planet. It didn't get as much hype in Korea when it first aired, but man, would I tell you that show is amazing? It's amazing. But as far as things I'm watching currently though, done with my recommendations. I could talk about K-dramas forever. But as far as recommendations go, yeah, definitely watch Hotel de Luna. It's great. It's wonderful. Watch it now. And then as far as anime goes, I started rewatching Food Wars. So really into that at the moment. I'm also really into seasonal anime. Like this season has really good anime. I tend to always like go back to really old anime and kind of get to know about some of, like, I really like 90s anime. I just love the style of it. But as far as like this season, there are some really good shows. Like I am watching like 3 or 4 shows all at once this season. So right now I'm watching Carol and Tuesday, which is like a, like, that one is kind of like a carryover from the spring season. That one is a music anime, and everyone that knows me knows that I love music because I'm a music major, and so music anime is everything to me. So I would recommend that to literally every person that loves original music. And I am watching a show called Given that is also a music anime, but the only difference is that the main characters fall in love. So the focus is on the music though. and the relationships you build through music. And God, the animation is absolutely gorgeous. Dr. Stone is everything. It's about all of a sudden everybody just turns to stone one day and you're like, what? Like a green light happens and everybody just turns to stone. Then 3,700 years later, all of a sudden a super whiz kid comes out of the stone and he is going to rebuild civilization from the Stone Age on with all the previous knowledge that we already picked up in the 21st century. Definitely recommend watching that, especially if you're a nerd for science. Awesome. So yeah, those are the things I'm currently watching.
Well, with me, I don't know. I'm a basic bitch when it comes to anime. Like, I'm so basic. But yes, I'm currently I gotta it's like I'm always constantly watching Food Wars. But I'm always watching the first 2 seasons only because it's they got the first 2 seasons that are dubbed on Hulu, because sometimes I just like watching it just to kill time, and again sometimes I don't feel like reading, and but with the fact that I recently looked up the other day that the 4th season or the 4th plate whatever the new season is called, it's supposed to be coming out in a month or so. So it's I gotta refresh up on my brain. It's I know the big events that happened. I just forgot what the very last episode left off of. But I remember all the big events that happened. It's just that I just gotta refresh myself on the little details.
Cool, because I still need to watch season 3. I just got done with season 2. Yeah, but so I absolutely adore Food Wars. You're the reason I'm into it. So,
but I try to put a lot of people down more into it. Look, if you just get past the foodgasms, the show gets addicting.
Yeah, you just gotta get used to that awkward moment. Just watch it with headphones or on low volume or when people aren't around. Just so people aren't,
They will think you're watching naughty videos. There's no way to hide it. They will be like, okay, you that bold.
Also, sometimes make sure if you have an open space and you're watching it, people can walk past and see some weird things on the screen too. So just be cautious of where you watch Food Wars.
Alright, as far as any other anime thing, I watched this. My friend made me watch a month ago. I know I texted you about it. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but that Netflix anime movie, A Silent Voice.
Oh, I was actually going to tell you, I did get to watch it last week.
Did it make you cry?
I didn't cry, but I was quite emotional about it. I think in the last minute or so, I almost cried. Especially when the main character... You know what? I'm not going to spoil it for anybody that feels like watching it in the future, but I will say that it's quite eye-opening, especially because I feel like kids are just jerks when they're younger.
Kids are assholes.
And this just proves it. I feel like kids in elementary/middle school could just be so cruel to each other, and yeah, so it was interesting to see a redemption story where you start off not liking the main character, but then at the end they're not telling you to like the main character, but they're putting him in a position where you can make the choice whether or not you forgive his past actions, and that's pretty interesting, and I like that. I really like that. But yeah, so it's something I would recommend. I would recommend seeing A Silent Voice.
That movie effed me up emotionally. And it's I blame my friend Gloria because she made me watch it. And the only reason that she even made me watch it is because she's also an ARMY, but apparently Jungkook recommended it, and she was like, hey, let's watch it. But the thing is that she didn't tell me until after we was done with it. And I'm just like, man, why did you even make me watch it in the first place? She was like, okay, I'm gonna confess, I saw Jungkook recommend it, so I wanted to watch it, but I didn't want to watch it by myself.
Oh my gosh, that's too much. Yeah, there were a couple times where I almost teared up, but I didn't get super emotional. I didn't cry physically, but I did get emotional. But it is a powerful movie. It is quite powerful.
But yeah, but like other than that, I'm just maybe watching Food Wars, and I think I'm gonna start back watching like anime that I really was getting into, but I just kept on forgetting about. And it's actually a really good anime, and it was started to be a really good story. I just kind of forgot where I left off, but it was what was the anime? It was called That Time I Got Reincarnated into a Slime. Have you ever watched it that, Risha?
No, I'm not a big fan of isekais, so I don't really watch them often. I do know a lot of people were really into that one, but then I ended up watching the Rising of the Shield Hero, and I actually got into it. So I guess I'm not completely not into isekais. I guess it just takes a good one, so I might check it out later.
Yeah, it's just that like, I don't know. Again, I'm real basic when it comes to animes, but the only reason I just wanted to watch it was because, okay, how in the world do you get reincarnated into a slime? But I'll let you know right off the bat though, it is kind of like a little bit of a slow start, because like the first like episode or two, it's just basically you're getting the feel of the main character and what even then it's kind of like, even though he starts off as a he, but when he reincarnates, because it's a slime, it doesn't have no gender, so everything is kind of like gender neutral. But like since it started off as a man, I can't help but say he. So but the character is gender neutral. So like, and like even then like where but it's just like, yeah, so like the first like episode or two, you just like it just like gives you the time like to know like what its abilities are. It doesn't explain the reason why it's like this, but it has these abilities and like what it can do. And like but yeah, I just always like pretty cool that like they mainly had it be gender neutral. And this is not a spoiler at all, because you can even like figure it out like up in the intro of the show. So like the biggest thing is like with it shape shifting and all that stuff. So it's like by devour like if like a species like whatever like he encounters, they like die or whatever, he could like absorb like that body and can shape shift into that form whenever he wants. And like and if it's like and if it's like a specific creature, like if it has certain powers, not only it will take its form, but it will develop their powers as well.
You know what? I'm kind of getting Shield Hero vibes just a little bit, because he can put things into a shield and get new powers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know what? I have a challenge. I will watch the slime reincarnation thing, and you will watch the Rising of Shield Hero, and we'll get back to each other.
You gotta remind me, because I'm gonna forget that name.
Just think of Shield Hero. You'll find it. We've gone on a huge tangent. I think we're good as far as things we've been watching.
We gotta talk about some serious stuff, because we literally just cannot go to sleep without talking about this. Okay, topic of the night. The big topic of the night. K-pop stans, Twitter. I don't know. I don't really be dealing with that much stans on Instagram, but stan Facebook, just K-pop stans in general, and just all that hoopla. But like, this is basically gonna be your whole segment, Risha, because one time we gotta get out the way, because it's like, I know what happened, but I just want to know the details. And plus, like, I am an citizen, but you're a lot more of a veteran than I am. So we gonna get into what, but like, I would just say, let's start with citizens talking about SM mistreating the China line and win-win. Let's get into that. Explain.
How do we even explain? Well, historically, SM has not really had the best track record with their Chinese idols. They just treat them differently. Granted, a lot of companies tend to treat their foreign idols extremely different compared to their Korean idols. As some idols have pointed out, like CLC, Sorn, like, they get less pay at times. We've seen multiple times where they tend to get less promotions, less screen time, less time to sing on a track. Like it's something that we've seen a lot since a lot of these a lot of these groups have added in a lot more foreign members. And in the case of NCT, it's just really sad to see SM's old tricks coming back. So, because I believe the first ever Chinese idol we had was in Super Junior, and Hangang. I never say his name correctly, but he originally debuted with Super Junior. And he was the first Chinese idol in Super Junior and in SM at the time. And then we had Victoria in SM for FX, and now we had EXO. Like, their original plan was EXO-K and EXO-M, and we know how that all panned out, with 3 of the EXO-M members leaving the group because of citing mistreatment. And so it's like, it's interesting to see all of that coming back to play, even though you would think a company would learn from their mistakes. The biggest issue, and citizens are angry about win-win. And you've seen a little bit of this too, Janay, on Twitter.
The usual thing that I see with women all the time. And to be honest, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was a little bit naive at one point when, like, I used to jump on, like, you know, the whole bandwagon with, them going on rants about win-win. But, like, once you explain, like, you know, certain things to me, things became a lot more clear. The biggest thing that people was talking about was, like, when one of the Dream members, I think it was Renjun, who was, like, you know, on V-Live, and, like, you know, he was, like, going to talk about win-win, and it's just, like, you know, they was, I guess, like, some manager or staff in the back was just, like, don't mention about win-win. And now, like, you can explain this part, but, like, what I was saying, but was that, like, you know, people just, like, you know, one half of Twitter is, like, okay, like, y'all really trying to, like, you know, throw away win-win and all that stuff, like, and some really don't care about women and whatnot. And at the other half, which, like, you know, of course, like, you know, it's, like, you know, probably, like, you know, what you explained to me is that, like, when it comes to Korea and China, it's like when Korean labels have, like, you know, certain groups debut in China, it's like it still kind of has to be this, like, a little bit discreet that these Chinese members have, like, some type of association with, like, Korean members, even though, like, I don't know. I mean, this still needs to be explained to me to this day when it comes to the whole relationship between China and Korea, because it's like I constantly hear that, like, K-pop is, like, you know, banned in China, and it just interesting to me is just that, like, you know, if it's banned in China, wouldn't they just ban it altogether? But it's like, I just think it's, like, kind of funny, is because it's like, yeah, K-pop is banned, but Korean labels can still infiltrate the Chinese market. So it's like they can't fully be a part of it, but they can infiltrate it somewhat, and it's just like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird, and it's just like, if y'all don't want these ties, like, y'all better just be 100% with, like, this whole ban instead of just, like, having this whole drama. And it's like, I do understand China is, like, a pretty big market, but it's like, I don't know. It just seems like a lot to just really try to have, like, you know, Chinese members that, like, you know, originally, like, you know, a Korean label was trying to get out there, and it just seems, like, complicated. And again, like how you mentioned, these, like, you know, like, it sounds like, you know, history of, like, you know, trying to have this happen and fail, and so it's just kind of meh. But yeah, I don't know. You can just explain all that to me, but, like, to this day, I'm just confused, and it's just like, look, if you're gonna ban something, ban all of it. Like, if y'all just really, I don't know. I don't.
The
Again,
biggest thing is,
I'm very ignorant to a certain. I mean, not say very ignorant, but like, I'm just like, to a certain level. I just don't know everything that's like going on as far as technicality when it comes to marketing in China. So it's like, you major in that stuff. You got the expertise, so you go ahead and explain that.
Well, I mean, it's different because like China is different. I'm learning marketing from an American standpoint, but honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, I can understand your confusion. K-pop is no longer banned in in China anymore. That whole fad issue kind of died down about a year or so ago. But the thing is, there are still residual effects of it. So even though K-pop is no longer completely banned there, from what some of my Chinese friends have told me, and other Chinese and citizens have informed a lot of us on, is that although K-pop is no longer banned there, these companies still need to tiptoe around the government because of the fact that it is still very sensitive. The relationship between the two countries are still very sensitive. So although K-pop is no longer banned, and you could probably still promote there somewhat, it's one of those things where it's like, SM is being cautious. And as this being a major business venture with something like Wavy under the NCT brand, you need to be very cautious because they're entering this market again after such a huge wipeout of Korean culture in China for a while. So, of course, creating something like Label B and being very hush-hush about Wavy being NCT for a while. Obviously, we all knew that Wavy was NCT. We're not stupid. You have members from NCT in Wavy. We are perfectly aware. You have SM rookies in Wavy. We are perfectly aware. It's just... But the problem is, it was just a lot of fans were... That's what I think the biggest issue is. A lot of fans have blown things way out of proportion. And another thing that I've noticed about this particular fandom, and I'm not dissing you guys because we are also a part of the fandom, but it's but I feel like NCTzen tend to complain a lot. There's rarely ever action we take, but it is always complaints. And so there was so much complaining about, well, why aren't you saying that this and this, and why are you outcasting them, and why don't they have the NCT name? And it's because a lot of people just didn't understand the nuances of business, and they didn't understand the sensitive relationship that these two countries have at the moment. And so they're all complaining about how it was supposed to be NCT Vision and now it's not anymore, and you're trying to pretend like Wavy doesn't matter and blah blah blah. And also another thing is that people were very angry about promotions, and the difference is Chinese promotions for a boy group will be completely different from Korean boy group promotions. Because in Korea, you have all of these different outlets that people can promote on. You have weekly music shows. You have all of these different variety shows that people can promote on weekly. Whereas in China, that's not exactly the same. They have a couple of really big variety shows that people can go to, which Wavy have been lucky enough to be able to go to. But there are only maybe 2 or 3 music shows, and they're not all weekly. And some of them don't show very often or not as widely known. And then on top of that, a lot of Chinese promotions tend to focus on brand sponsorships and being a brand ambassadors, I should say that instead. So Wavy is doing a lot of photo shoots. They're doing a lot of magazine shoots. They're promoting a whole bunch of different brands because that's how you get known in China. That's what they use as promotion. there may not be as many times to promote your music like you would on a weekly music show in Korea, but this is their way of promoting WayV. Like, we have 2 of our members from WayV on regular spots on huge shows. That is amazing for a rookie that hasn't even been out for 7-8 months. Like, that's absolutely unheard of. But they are 2 regulars on 2 major variety shows. And that's amazing. But it just seems like a lot of fans tend to focus on the negative aspects, because they're like, oh, well, it's not the same as the Korean one, so it's obviously bad. No, it's not. It's like, it's not the same as the Korean one, so it's obviously neglect. That is not the case. Like, they're actually being, for what's been going on for the past couple of months, they are doing really well for a rookie group. Extremely well. And it's different. Like, the marketing is different over there. The way you promote your music is different in China. It's not the same as Korea, and we just need to get used to that. And a lot of us fans have never had to deal with a group that we stan working so heavily in another country like that. And so, like, a lot of K-pop fans have no idea how China works, and thus they want to impose their ideals that they had from Korea onto this new market when it's not the same. And that's why we have all these people complaining about it. But as far as the whole mistreatment of Win-Win thing, like, the thing is, I personally feel like Win-Win was debuted too early.
Oh yeah, I remember you told me that.
And I just think that was just a personal feeling. It's not that I don't think he's absolutely amazing. It's not that I don't think he's an amazing dancer. It's not that I don't think he is a great performer. And it's not that I don't think that but I just feel like, especially since he didn't seem to have very much confidence speaking the Korean language, to have him debut in a group that mostly promoted in Korean, that must have been exceptionally hard for him, because he was nowhere near fluent at the time. And then he didn't have very much training ahead of that. I think at maximum he had about a year. I'm probably wrong about how long he was in it, but I know for sure he was only introduced as an SM trainee for about a year until he debuted with 127. So it's like he didn't have very much time to actually start cultivating the language and breaking that language barrier. And also he might not have had confidence in his singing voice at that point too, because, like, how can you be confident singing in a language that you barely know?
Yeah, that's totally understandable though.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, even as a music major, I'm required to sing in multiple different languages.
Oh yeah, I remember, like, wasn't like a one piece that you had, like, you had to sing in German. I think I heard you sing it in German one time, and, like, I was like, it sounds cool.
But it's one of those things where it's like, if you're singing in a language that you're not fluent in, you're gonna be nervous. You're not gonna want to really, because, like, there's, like, obviously you're gonna have pronunciation problems and all that fun stuff, and it's just, so I just feel like it would have benefited him more to have more time. But I understand why they wanted him in the group, because with 127, it's kind of like the branching out point for all the rest of the groups. So, like, obviously Yuta is the guy that helps them to get into Japan. And then you have Win-Win as being the representative for Chinese-speaking markets. And then you have, like, Johnny and Mark, who are there for the English-speaking markets. So it's like, it's understandable in that aspect, because 127 is pretty much the global group of NCT at this point. So I get why they debuted Win-Win, because also he would be good to, he's pretty good at adapting to different types of concepts. Like, he's easy to insert into any concept. So I understand why they chose him. I just feel like skills-wise, he might not have wanted to it just didn't seem like it was the right time for him. But yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, because people always complained about him not getting a lot of lines, but also, did people ever think about the fact that he might not have wanted those lines? Was that ever in the conversation?
People might think that might be weird if he might not want to sing like that, but it's just like, look, if you're going to be an idol, like, how come you wouldn't want to sing that much?
I mean, in Japan, they have a group called E-Girls where there are literally members of the group that are just performers. They do not sing on the track. They are just straight up dancing performers. But they are also full members of the group, though.
Oh yeah, like, ain't that also kind of how it was with the Pussycat Dolls when it was like 1 or 2 girls was literally there just to dance?
Yeah. And I'm like, and that's understandable because you have to remember, well, it's one of those things though, it's like, I'm pretty sure people don't take into consideration that these people that audition, not all of them come in with strong singing voices. Not all of them come in with rapping skills. Not all of them come in with dancing skills. It's like some of the, like, you're not always, like, I remember I watched a documentary on 9 Muses, and one of the executives, he had talked about it. He was just like, it's rare that you find an idol that actually genuinely knows how to sing when they audition for this. And it was just like, because that's true. Some of these kids want this fame and fortune, or some of these kids want to live out their dream, but like some of them are like, I'm a dancer that just wants to be on stage and dance, but that doesn't mean they can sing or want to sing. And that's one thing I think people just didn't realize. But even then, taking away all of that stuff and how I feel about his debut and everything, like, obviously I love Win Win. That changes nothing. But it's one of those things where, like, everybody's complaining about how Win Win can't sing or dance outside of Wavy on his show. People are angry about that, or like how people were like, oh, he's still not getting lines in Wavy, even though once they did Takeoff, he got a lot more lines.
Oh my god, I love Takeoff so much.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's one of those things from like, Win Win is an interesting subject because it's like, I don't necessarily think he's like, I think, and then I think the biggest thing that people have an issue with is they really want him back in 127. I think that's the real thing. Like, that was another complaint that I saw, especially when the new SM boy, like, super group was announced. A lot of people were complaining that, like, oh, so Ten and Lucas get to promote in this group in Korea and the US, and that's not a problem, but Win Win can't go back in 127.
They want, like, made type of argument, but you gotta think about who Ten and Lucas is at the same time. And it's like, it's kind of one of those things, like, it makes sense. It don't mean that, like, you know, I don't, like who knows? Like, you'll never know what they doing. Like, they probably got Win Win, probably being a part of, like, something, like, you know, totally big. Again, like, you know, how you were saying that, like, you know, he's, like, slowly, like, you know, probably, like, getting used to things, or, like, you know, maybe possibly getting more confident in himself.
He seems so confident in Wavy.
Yeah, he definitely looks a lot more confident in Wavy. But things that, like, when the people that go for the supergroup, the members that they chose, it makes sense. Especially, like, when it comes to, like, you know, the fan bases, like, you know, when it comes to certain members. I mean, even though it's just like, we try to, like, you know, promote, like, you know, you should love all the members. But when it comes to, like, you know, pushing a new group and, like, you know, making sure this really works, you gotta pick the members who, like, probably, like, more likely got the most serious fan bases. That's at the time, that's what it comes down to. Because, again, this is for money. And it's like, if you trying to, like, you know, come with a super group and you gotta make sure this shit make bank, you gotta put in the right people. And it's like, sadly, like, I mean, I don't know if this could be blunt saying this. It's just that, like, Win Win just don't fit in that cut.
But it's not that people are angry that he wasn't chosen. It's mainly that they're angry that Ten and Lucas can easily promote outside of China with zero problem. But why is it that Win Win can't be with 127 when they're traveling? Or why can't he be with 127 when they're in Korea? And I can get that argument and I understand it, but but my thing is like, Win-Win is building such a huge, building such a good fan base in China, and he, again, as we mentioned before, he's getting a lot more confident. He has a regular spot on a TV show. Like, Win-Win is doing so well over there, and I'm pretty sure like it's more beneficial for his career to be focused on Wavy at the moment. Because I mean, his whole reason for being in 127 was for a group like Wavy to come out of that. He is known for 127, so when he branched off into Wavy, fans that knew him from there would follow. And so he's pretty much fulfilling his role as a 127 member. That doesn't take away from the fact that he is a 127 member. I get that people wanted to see him at the concerts. I completely understand. But, I mean, it's one of those things, it's not like he's not going to be back 127 in the future. It's just they're trying to get Wavy off the ground. This is a huge undertaking. This is a huge step for SM and Label V. This is a huge step. So they need to put all their eggs in a basket and hope that it goes through. And so, and Win-Win is a huge part of that. He is a crucial factor for Wavy being a success. So he needs to be in China promoting that success.
The way that like UB's playing this, it does make a lot more sense. And it does change my views on like a lot of things, especially with like, you know, basically how people was acting with Win. That's how it was with Johnny. But it's like the more I paid attention to like, you know, what's supposed to be going on, I could see that Johnny is happy. So it's just like, you know, like, I mean, again, at the end of the day, you'll never know what's going on, like, you know, behind the scenes and nitty gritty. But as far as like, you know, firsthand goes, it don't seem like Johnny has really that much complaints. Like, you know, as much as like, you know, okay, he used to, you know, not get so much camera time, and like literally in like the whole, what was it? I think was always like Limitless EP, like the total amount of time that like he probably like said the line was like probably like under 10 seconds. But like, I mean, but the thing is that like I feel like I mean, it ain't like I'm like a huge SM stan, but I do see some improvement. It's just that like, man, patience is like what's that word I'm saying? I don't know if I want to say patience is a virtue, because I don't think I'll be saying correctly. But like, look, sometimes you just gotta give these companies time, and it's just like you just gotta give them time. Like, I'm content with like, you know, as a Johnny stan, I am content like how things are now. Like, I feel a lot better as far as like, you know, the lines that he get, and of course like, you know, camera time and all that stuff. And then also like, even then, it's just like I don't even care about but again, like, you know, how you saying like Win-Win's like, you know, being involved in like the show and all that stuff like that. Like, ever since like NCT started their whole like, you know, vlog channel, like, you know, their daily channel, it's like I get a lot more excited about Johnny Communication Center than like anything else. Like, at least they let them do other content. It's just that like, it is easy to get caught up with the fact and the music in general, but it's like they're involved with a lot of other content.
Yeah, like you said, people like K-pop fans are used to a constant roll of getting content. You go a couple of months without seeing your fave, and then you think they disappeared off the planet Earth.
Yeah, like you focus on music and stuff like that, but like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep on talking about Johnny. Like, with time I'm complaining, whole time I'm forgetting about that he has a whole radio show with my freaking bias record Jaehyun, and they have so many like, you know, NCT Night. Like, I was totally not aware of NCT Night for like a long time, and to be honest, like I was like I did not know about it until it was probably like too late. It was probably like a couple months or so before they like, you know, had their last episode before they had to go on tour. And it's just like I'm mad. I'm like focused on like, you know, being mad about like, you know, the content, like all the song stuff. I'm like, but Johnny's doing a whole bunch more stuff. He's being a DJ.
And I mean, we have to remember, like you said, these companies need time, and especially with this huge undertaking, NCT is a huge project. So SM needs time to lay it out, make it work, lay the groundwork so they can profit later. And also, again, with a group like NCT, with having so many members, people are going to have their strengths. Johnny's strength is the fact that he is a really good talker. He is a great people person, and thus he is easy to listen to, understand, communicate with. So things like the communication center, things like a radio thing, he's good at doing things that involve communication. And like, even though he's not getting a whole bunch of lines here and there in the songs, which you would love for your artists to be able to do that type of art, maybe their strength lies somewhere else. If you look at like a group like Super Junior has members that strengths are in emceeing, but then you have others that are great at variety and comedy, and then you have others that are amazing dancers and singers. And so it's just like, but the thing is that what Super Junior does is that they allow those members to go off and branch off into those things that their strengths are. But you know what? When they come together, they still end up doing just as amazing things. And that's what I'm seeing in NCT as time goes on, is that each member has their strength and they're given that opportunity, especially with the platform like YouTube. They're given the opportunity to explore those things. Like you see Taeyong posting on the dance channel all the time because he's exploring his artistry as a dancer more, and that's really exciting. And then you see people like Doyoung. Like Doyoung is doing a whole bunch of covers of songs because that's his strength. He is a singer. And so it's like having like things like NCT Music, NCT Dance, NCT Daily. It's like it gives them their opportunities to explore themselves in different ways. Like even Wavy, when they had that Rainbow V project, we got to have Winwin and Ten do that dance. We had Xiaojun and Kun do the song, and then we had that freestyle with Hendry and Yang Yang and Lucas. Like the thing is about NCT, they're allowed to get those opportunities. And that's amazing because people have their strengths and they should be able to explore them more. And even though we would love for them to be like every traditional group out there, NCT is far from traditional. They are completely different. They're a new thing.
They really are.
They're a completely new thing, and people just can't wrap their head around a something like NCT because it hasn't existed before. And as far as the whole Renjun thing goes, like that was a misunderstanding, but again, we as fans like to blow things out of proportion, and then people start to bandwagon.
Man, Twitter blew up about that. Like, he up in the rain, the staff neglected him, there ain't no umbrella, everybody else got up in the car.
Yeah, and he ended up explaining it, and like obviously fans were like, oh, it's just a cover up from SM, blah blah blah. Believe what you want to, but he explained it. And then turn around a week or so later, he gets announced to have his own radio show.
Oh, he did? Oh!
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, where's the neglect now? Like, I'm just like, it's one of those, like, because again, a radio show, you don't just start on the fly. So people can't just be like, oh, they're doing that to cover up all the mistreatment they gave him. No, you need to plan those things in advance. This was planned in advance that Renju was going to get his own radio show. So it's one of those things where it's like, fans like to complain a lot, especially as Citizen. We love complaining. And then that complaint, fans like to bandwagon on that complaint and add more and more and more negativity. When in actuality, what we need to do is just be calm, ride this wave with them, let them do what they do. There are certain times when your arguments are valid about someone being mistreated, but at this moment, I don't necessarily see Child in Line as being mistreated. I'm actually seeing a lot of improvement on SM's part of how they're treating their foreign idols. They're doing a lot better. Like even Yuta is getting a lot more lines nowadays. He's getting to be in center a lot nowadays. Like even Johnny's getting vocal lines now.
Yes, girl. Man, look, up in Highway to Heaven. Look, did they? I don't even know if they even posted a dance practice yet. But yo, it looks like look, Johnny, my husband, y'all. Like, I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. That is my baby daddy. Like, we've been married for like 3 years, and we got 3 beautiful dogs together. All right, but like, nah, it looks like they got him like in a center for a decent amount, and it's like I love it when Johnny be center, because it's like, when he be up at center, it's like, like it's always like a given that, like, every single member, like, they be like, they put in like, 110%. It's just that when Johnny up in the center, he bumped that up to like 150. Like, he's like, this is me. This is right here. I'm about to get it. It's a whole, like, look, a whole different energy just pops out when that boy is in center. And I'm just happy. I am a happy Johnny Stan at the moment, to be honest. I am a well-fed Johnny Stan, I believe. Like, at the moment.
That's how I feel. Like, I feel like as time is going on, and as SM is getting a feel for how they are getting this NCT ball rolling, like, it's going to take a lot more time than regular groups will to get the ball rolling, because it's such a huge undertaking. But I personally do not see China Line being overly mistreated. I do see some things that can be improved, like communication between fans and company need to start getting better, especially when certain things like the Renjun thing went down, and then everybody was blowing that up for a few days, and SM really didn't say anything. So it's like those type of things where it's like communication between fans and company need to be a lot better in order for these misunderstandings not to happen, because I think a lot of fans are taking a lot of things to extremes because there's no communication there. They're just like, oh, well, Renjun couldn't talk about Win-Win. Thus, the managers are trying to block their communication with WayV. Thus, they're trying to pretend that WayV is no longer a part of NCT. Does that mean that they're not a part of NCT anymore? What are they? Are you just trying to discriminate against them? Like, it goes from 0 to 100 real quick if there is no communication.
Yeah, and like that's like the biggest problem that I got too, when it's like mother effers just jump to like conclusions. And this was like a few weeks old, but I was just like randomly confused, because like I ain't see like Big Hit pull out like no statement or nothing. I ain't see nothing serious happen. But I remember we went on Twitter one day and I saw like, I think like Get Well Soon Jimin, and I'm like, okay, what's going on with my baby Chim Chim? Literally, it was just like, okay, of course it was airport photos and like whatever, like, took a picture, like, like those like muscle pain like patches that idols be wearing, because they be performing like a mug, so like they need to ease that pain. So like Jimin and Cookie, they be the main ones that wear a hell of a lot of those patches, mostly on the neck and back, because they do a lot. but like people, like literally, I don't know if it's just like new armies or whatever, but a lot of people jumped to a conclusion that was just like claiming, like literally just automatically diagnosing G-Man, talking about like, oh, like, he like seriously hurt, and like, he looks like he's in so much pain, and like Big Hit, like, not doing nothing about it, taking him to the hospital and still having him perform. And like, whatchamacallit, like, just basically saying that like Big Hit don't care about G-Man, and it's like, no. And if you were a real army, you would have seen this crap on the movie, like the last movie, Burn the Stage, the movie. And it's like, they wear these patches all the time, because when you're constantly performing and like, dancing a lot, and I know you feel this, Risha, because you are a choreographer, you are a dancer, you perform a lot. Your body parts do be in pain, not to the point you gotta go to the hospital, but it's like you just got aches. Like, look, your feet hurt, put on a foot patch. And it's just like, of course, like, look, I got back pains, I throw in some icy hot or some Bengay. Look, you're just patching yourself up so you can be able to prepare for the next performance. But like, because if it's ever gonna be to the point that somebody gets seriously hurt, you think Big Hit ain't gonna put out a statement Bro, Big Hit put out a statement with Namjoon one time he hit the fuck out his toe. That he had to go to the hospital. He hit some furniture. I don't know if it was a pinky toe or the big toe. But man, he hit the F out his toe. And like, they put out a statement that
he hit his toe.
Like literally, there was 2 instances that the members got into a fight with furniture and they won. So Namjoon lost with his toe, and then Cookie lost with his ankle when I believe they was up. I think they was up in Europe for a little bit with their tour. I think it was a Love Yourself tour. I forgot what show they was on, but yeah, Cookie hurt his ankle really bad, and of course that like again like some that's going to be like out there like really bad. Of course, it's gonna make a statement, especially even if it's just like like I mean I guess I would consider it minor injury. I mean it's still an injury, but like as far as like minor injuries, as far as like hurt like hurting your ankle and like stubbing your toe, and like I think like one point like years ago, Suga his ear got caught in a door, so like he had to get that fixed up. I might get that story wrong. Somehow his ear got hurt, and I think I heard somehow it got caught in a revolving door. I might have got that story wrong. Look at your face.
That's next level.
I don't know, but something happened to his ear at one point. But it's like, look, they go. It's just like it's something seriously. It's like going wrong. If like members are seriously hurt, they're going to put out a statement. And it's just like it's just irritating when like fans just automatically diagnose idols, and it's just like, yo, if it's that serious, we will know.
Right, or like how fans automatically are like, ooh, they're being mistreated. And I think it's one of those things where it's just, again, we just need better communication between company and fans. And I think there are going to be some fans out there that are like, oh, well, they would never admit to mistreating their idols, blah, 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 this, that, and third. But honestly, I feel like it's one of those things where we just need to stop going to the extremes, think on a more lower level, and just think about it like sometimes something might seem wrong. Like there's like many instances where fans have been like, okay, some of these managers are too much. And yes, I do admit there are instances where I'm like, some of their managers be saying and stopping them from doing certain stuff. And I'm like, but we all know that NCT be doing a lot of extra, so I can understand trying to keep some of these boys in line.
Oh man, I will never forget. What was like this one clip that I saw? I think it was like one of those like Idol Olympic events, and I was trying to remember who it was. I think it was one of the Dream members, something like that. But one of them like wanted to go greet the fans, and he was just like running around going to get them, and one of the managers was like running behind him, acting like he chasing his child. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Oh no, I think you're talking about like at their, it was like a fan meeting, and it was Jungwoo running away from one of the security guards.
Yes, it was. Yep, it was Jungwoo running from the security guards. Oh my god, that's who it was.
It was absolutely hilarious. But it's like and I get it. NCT, each one of them are a handful. I get it. But there are some times where I'm just like, okay, but these managers are a little extra. Can you calm that down? Again, as fans, we need to stop taking certain things to extreme. I just don't think that. I think the whole idea of China Line being mistreated, and fans wanting to constantly be on this like complaint train about everything that's wrong without looking at all the good that's being done and all the progress that's being made by SM for their foreign idols is something we need to, as a fandom, step back and look at ourselves and see if we're consciously perpetuating this negativity. Because I feel like as time goes on, because it's not just NCitizen. Like, I know we focus on NCitizen specifically in this podcast, but it's a lot of fandoms.
Now I'm gonna talk about my main fandom. Yeah. I talked about Army,
but a lot of fandoms are like this, where they like constantly perpetuate these negatives that are going on, and thus more people bandwagon it, and it just gets worse and worse. And it's just like, you need to stop doing that. it's like, again, if we had better communication between fan and company, that might be able to deter some of these people getting super in their feelings about things. But again, once you're behind the keyboard, everyone just decides they gotta be high and mighty. They just don't completely filter themselves. They just go all out there and just let it be known. And but yeah, I think we need to stop doing that, because it's not okay. It's like, again, it's, you don't, like, some people just don't know all the nuances that go on behind all of the scenes, and then they just make assumptions of what is happening, like, especially like with the whole win-win on TV not being able to sing and dance or whatever. You never know what could be the reasoning behind that. It could be the broadcast station said something. It could literally be that SM was like, we don't want you promoting without your members, because if you're like, because again, they were a relatively new group, so like, you don't want anybody to be promoting without the rest of them for a little bit, especially if you're a new group. But yeah, it's just, you never know what the reason behind that was, unless you're actually an executive working behind the scenes. We are all relatively just making assumptions until told otherwise. Thus, stop making all the assumptions negative and try to think on a more earthly level. Don't take it to 100. Go to about 12. Let's go to about 12.
All right, I got one more thing to rant about. Even though it's like, look, we gonna be talking about negative stands this whole episode, but like, as far as like this whole thing goes, I just got like one more little rant as far as like fans doing too much. I'm gonna just go back to Army, and I'm gonna just refresh people's brains. I'm an Army, okay? Just so bitches don't forget. I love my babies, but look, sometimes you just gotta, just like you're in citizen, you gotta check your peoples. I gotta check my people sometimes. You know, but I'm tired of seeing, and it's like, I tend to see it a lot. Look, stop getting obsessed about the views and streams that certain songs get. And I'm talking about the ones that like recently, it's like, I understand that, like, you know, certain songs could get slept on, but the fact that the status that BTS is on at this point, it really ain't that serious. It's like, I do understand, like, you know, certain songs or like, you know, certain videos can get slept on and it deserves like a whole bunch more views. But I'm just going to specifically say Jin's solo song, Epiphany. Could y'all stop saying that like that song is being underappreciated, or like the song like needs more streams and views? And it's like, one, we all know that it's a beautiful song and Jin's voice is just wonderful for ballads, and that is one of the most like emotional songs that like he has ever done. It's beautiful, it's angelic, but the damn video has over 50 million views. I think we're good, okay, damn it. Like, I think we're good. The video is at 50 million views. Why are we still talking about Stream Epiphany? Like, we're good. Epiphany is good. Or like, I think it's just because, like, I mean, people just might be mad, I guess, like, compared to like possible other solo songs that might be at 70 million or maybe 100 million, I guess.
Some people can't even, some of these groups can't even reach that level. So that makes me very angry. This whole views thing is so stupid. Views does not equal quality.
I have a list of like songs that like bitches slept on. And like, look, if anybody got something to complain about, me personally, hey, look, when it comes to like, you know, different groups up in like NCT whatnot, to be honest, I do feel like a little bit Takeoff could be appreciated just a little bit more. It's still like, you know, it's like people still show love to it, but like, you know, as far as like, you know, people, as many people say that they was here for it, only like, you know, a certain amount of percentage, like, you know, actually support the video.
She deserved better.
Yeah, see, Takeoff deserved better. And you know what also deserved better?
What?
Now or Never by SF9. Y'all bitches let that shit go. Y'all didn't hype that song up. That could have been the song of the summer. That could have... Now or Never could have been a song of last summer.
Like, I was so angry. I was so angry that I didn't hear that song until freaking November.
Exactly.
I was like, why didn't no one hype this song? I was so angry. It was so good. And then also another song that people should really listen to and hype more is Purple. That one's featuring my boy Tay Ill. The soloist Sohee, I believe her name is. She just started her solo career, and God, is her music fantastic. But her debut song Purple featuring Tay Ill,
and you know what, see, I didn't know that,
is so good. It is so good. And it's so funny because like a lot of end citizens online are like, oh yo, stream it. Y'all ain't even stream it. Like, it made me so sad that it took forever for it to get just to 1 million views. Like, it's ridiculous. It is such a good song. Super underappreciated. Now that's underappreciation. But again, there are plenty of songs that are fantastic. Plenty of comebacks that are wonderful. From Us 9, Fun, Song of the Summer. No one paid attention.
I'm not even gonna lie, I ain't paying attention. I'm sorry.
And no, but it's just like, it's those certain things. It's like, views do not always equal quality. So it's like, it's just, some people just gonna get slept on because they're just gonna get slept on. But but yeah, like you said, don't focus on the views, bruh.
While we're on, like, you know, the topic of like certain songs should be listened to, I mean, there was like a couple of I understand, like, you know, it tends to be a hit or miss when it comes to like groups that debut. But like there was like a couple good there's like a couple good songs that, like, you know, that like I just can't help but, like, you know, listen to at the moment. Breathe by AB6. Get on that.
Who?
But that new group AB6, am I saying it right?
I don't know them.
Like, you texted me the song before. I already knew it for you, but I remember you texted me and was like, you should listen to this song because it had a house feel. And I was like, girl, I'm already on it.
Breathe.
Yeah, I want to breathe. Set me free.
Oh,
yeah.
That song's good.
And also, like, what was also a pretty good song, and like, I remember, like, I sent you this little girl group song, and like, I just remember you was just too focused on like how confusing the name was. But the group Bandit, I believe they had a comeback. I forgot how long ago, but it's a good song. It's called Dramatic. Like, from what I remember, I think the choreo could have been improved a little bit, but I freaking love the song though. I like it. I enjoy the chorus a lot. So I recommend Dramatic by Bandit. So
I'm really bad when it comes to knowing newer groups. I stan a lot of groups. I've been into K-pop for about 8 years, and so like I am at the point where I'm kind of like leveled on how many groups I'm gonna get into. But yeah, so it's like I kind of miss out on some of the rookies because I just forget about them, or like I'm just not emotionally prepared to get into another group. But man, when I tell you one has destroyed my soul and took it and just kept it in a cage, and they just keep it in their household and cultivate it, I swear I adore Oneness. I don't know how and or why I became so obsessed with this new group. It is very rare for me to get into a rookie group. Like, within the last couple of years, it has been very rare. And I don't know how, because man, when I tell you Valkyrie came through, fell in love with Soho immediately. I mean, I knew him from Produce 101, so, but back then his name was Gun Min, and now he legally changed his name apparently, so it's now Soho, and I'm okay with that. I'm still in love with him, so that changes nothing. But man, Twilight, when they came back with Twilight, more of the story is, if you do not listen to Oneness, what are you doing with your life? like get on that. Like I feel like everybody's hyping up people like ITZY and TXT, and you know what? Go ahead, do that, hype them, but also listen to One Us. You are missing out on this new boy group. They are bringing back old feels of K-pop with a new flair. It's freaking fantastic. Also, they're in the same company as Mamamoo, so you know vocal game is gonna be strong. So their lives are ridiculous. Like they can sing live easily. And we're not gonna get into your feelings on Mamamoo. That has nothing to do with
it. Because you see my face. Look, I ain't gonna
we're not getting into it. But I'm just saying that company is known for having good live singers. And One Us is definitely good. We're not getting into it.
I know I made a face. But we gonna get into it. But like, anyways, I would say, like, you know, as far as like, I do understand, like, you know, it is tough, like, you know, keeping up with like groups. But like, for some reason, it's just like the way I just been kind of like keeping up against like with the rookie groups that are coming out. It's been by accident. To be honest, it's been by accident. It has not been on purpose.
But also, you're newer into K-pop too. So it's understandable.
But it's just like, I don't know how I found these groups. I really don't know how I did. That's the funny part. I'm not looking for it. It comes to me. But yeah, it's sometimes it is Twitter, but then like I do get like random recommendations on like, you know, YouTube and stuff. I'm like, okay, what is this?
The funny thing is YouTube tries really hard to get me into these rookie groups, and I'm just like, okay, I'll save it into my watch later list. I never go into my watch later list though.
I don't blame you, because look, with my watch later list, you know, I have like at least 3,000 videos up in my watch later list.
I think I do too. It's like, it's so funny. It's like you want to watch it later, but then later literally never comes.
Exactly, but like, no, of all these rookie groups, like the only ones, like, of course, like, you know, like I like legit stand, because like getting into like these groups, it takes a lot of work. So it's just like,
I know who you're going to say.
Yeah, ATs, my baby's ATs, okay? Those are my children. And it's just that like the only reason why like I just like go hard for them, because like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the same feeling like, you know, that you have with NCT. Like, you know, you seen them as some rookies, and like you seeing like, you know, like all the talent and stuff like during their pre-debut, and you keeping up with everything and all that stuff, and then like, you know, they finally debut, and like, okay, these are my babies for life. Like, no, that's how it is. But like, even though I don't know, I've been even though I don't know, I feel weird saying the Fandom name. I really wish it could have been a different name, but like, I guess I feel like a bad A-Tiny.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's your Fandom name. I forgot.
No, but here's the thing though, like what I do like about ATs is that like they let the fans like pick a lot, so they let the fans vote on the Fandom name. These heifers like A-Tiny.
I mean, 17 did the same thing too. That's why we're carrots, because they had shining diamonds, and then we're their carrots that make them shine. It shows them their worth.
And then I also love that like they're planning on coming out with an official light stick, and they're actually having a contest for like letting fans design a light stick.
I wish NCT had did that. I mean, granted, I am perfectly fine with my Thor hammer.
Thor hammer.
I do feel like Thor. Like I have like that screensaver on my phone of Thor holding up the NCT light stick. I mean, I feel powerful as hell with it, but it's still one of those things where I'm just like, I would have liked something a little more aesthetic, but it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. I'm still gonna support my BBs. Still gonna support them.
But like, yeah, so like I thought it was like so cool, and like people are really drawing like amazing designs. So like, but yeah, anyways, like what I was saying, but like I was kind of feeling like kind of like a bad fan, because like with the recent comeback that they had, I mean like I watched them and all, and like this comeback was like pretty interesting, because like, you know, they was kind of like, they was sort of like into a dark concept. Well, they were like a lot more darker with like their first comeback, like when it came to like the whole pirate concepts. And then they still do, there's like this pirate concept, like this is their thing. They completely went on like the brighter side of the spectrum with the whole concepts, it's like they kind of went back to their debut, but they was like 10 times happier. So like this was really like a new bright concept for like me to get like used to, because like, man, I was such a hoe for Holla.
Honestly, everyone was.
And also I know like everybody got like a lot of people got their own like feelings about that song, but like, Say My Name, like, look, man, I was going through it with the first comeback. Like it took me forever to leave that era. That was my problem. But the new comeback that they have, I mean, like it's pretty decent. It's just that like one of the songs almost kind of made me like think like it low-key could have been like a card song. So it was just like, all right, cool.
Bruh, Wave literally sounds like a card song.
Oh, you listen to it?
It literally is card song. Like, I would not be surprised if the producer of that song also worked with Card. I'm not surprised. Because it's really funny. Yeah, it's really funny because Wave sounds like Card song, and then Card's Bomb Bomb sounds like something ATEEZ would have done.
You know what? That's so true. Oh my God. That's crazy. You just blew my mind. Bomb Bomb really could have been an ATEEZ song. Oh my God.
But yeah, you kind of went on a tangent with your boys and ATEEZ.
What, but you got anything else to say before we go to the last topic?
Well, I think no. Again, Stan Oneness. Also, I love you NCT, and I love you NCitizen. But let's be more positive in the future and support our boys better. Oh, I love you NCitizen. I love you guys. You guys are a fun fandom. You're freaking hilarious. You guys make really good memes.
Oh yeah, NCT, to be honest, got the best memes. NCT memes are my favorite memes.
Honestly, NCT themselves are memes.
Exactly.
And then NCitizens are also memes. Like, we just fit each other so well. We're a great fandom. I love a fandom that reflects their idol very well. So, but yeah, I love NCitizen. I love NCT. I love Oneness. I love all the groups. Positivity, y'all. All right, so yeah, that was just a little soul food for thought. Take it as you will, discuss as you will on our social media. Give us your thoughts on what we talked about. And then yeah, you can follow us on our social media. We did mention Twitters and all of that fun stuff. Janay is literally Janay Vera on literally all of the social media. JANAYVERA. No matter where you go, I will be there. I don't know. She's a rapper in a past life, y'all. She was a rapper. And yeah, and then I'm Risha Naye _90. Well, no, Risha DC _96. I don't even know my own Twitter handle.
Why do I know your username better than you? I don't understand. Is this how you know she's not on social media like that? I know her username.
I mean, I just go on there every once in a while. I basically go on social media just to post memes. So if you follow me, I retweet a lot of things that are meme culture. That is my life. I love laughing through the depression. All right. So, but yeah, so just follow us on those things. We will probably have more MBS social media accounts in the future. So be on the lookout for that within the next week or so.
Whenever we make them, we'll link them.
Yeah, we will link them when we make them. We would love for you to discuss with us on our social medias.
Risha, are you right? I don't know why I just really thought about the Drake song.
But yeah, so we will be opening up some social media for this podcast in the future. So whenever we have it, it will be linked. We look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. Yeah, and that was just a little food for thought, a little soul food for thought. So discuss with us in the comments and or message us what you think. And yeah, we will see you in the next episodes. And even drop suggestions for episodes too. We're all up for them. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
So it is done.